We're going through this morning pulling up these cucumbers, and we're going to utilize our trellis that we've got already here. These cucumbers, as you can see, got away from us so we can get them trellised. But we had the stakes and we started tying them. But we're going to utilize, since we've already got these sticks in here, we're going through pulling up 2 rows of cucumbers. These cucumbers are done. We've already started picking another field over there. So we are going through and planting half runners down beside these trellis, and then we'll come back through and run strings to the top, and we'll have another late planting of half runners coming along here. I would be planting these with my polyplanter junior, but as we have searched high and low for it the past couple of days, apparently somebody stole it out of our packing house. I had it propped against the wall with some other stuff, and it grew legs and walked off, unfortunately. So me and Eden are plugging these half runners in by hand. That was about a 30-minute job. It should have took 2 with that polyplanter junior, but that's done. And I'm gonna go get the stuff and show you how we put strings on whatever we're putting strings on, whether it's half run trellis, cucumbers, tomatoes. It all works about the same. I'm gonna show you how we do it. I'm fixing to give away a trade secret here. This is how we trellis everything. Trellis stuff this way. Need a piece of PVC pipe. Don't really matter what size it is. I think this is 1/2 inch. And you need a box of baler twine. Make sure you get round baler twine, not square baler twine, because there's a whole lot more on, or a ball of round baler twine. And I've got a buku of straps for weed eaters and pole saws and you name it. I've got a bunch of these things laying around, and you can either use like a tarp strap, bungee cord, or this one actually has a band with it that goes around the ball of baler twine, and throw that sucker right over your shoulder. Got a little carried away right here. The only time it really gets aggravating is this stuff sometimes wants to just start spewing out of the middle of the ball, but now we're ready to tie. So for tying beans, we do them just a little bit different. If we were tying tomatoes or cucumbers, we would go down one side and we'd come back up the other and sort of encapsulate the plant, like what's going on right here. Go down one side and go back up the other, and you catch the plant. And ideally you want to do this and go weave in between the plant. That's the reason they call it a Florida weave, because you go in between the plants and you catch it. And that's how all of our tomatoes are trellised. I would say that's how 90% of the commercial tomatoes or anything trellised in this country is grown. But for beans, we do it a little different. We only run one set of strings, and so I'll show you how it goes. It goes pretty quick. I used to never would grow any kind of pole bean or anything like that because trellising was an issue. So for half runners, we run our strings about 6 inches apart, and we go plumb to the top of the post or the stake. I'll show you how. But you can do that ahead of time. These were done just like that, and the beans want to climb. So you don't have to worry about doing anything after you run your strings. The beans will find the trellis. I'm going to show you how this works pretty quick. So I do the top round. I kind of switch it up a little bit because I can do it faster if I just hold the pipe still instead of trying to weave it with the pipe. That's all there is to trellis and half runners. You see I got a little wide on the top run, but that's alright. I'm not the expert at this, and boys over yonder are good at it. I know how to do it, but not that good at it because I don't do it all the time. But what would have took me and Eden 30 minutes to plant, replant everything, squash, cucumbers, half runners, and snap beans, took us 30 minutes just to plant half runners for 4 of us. So hope whoever's got my polyplanter juniors enjoying it. They are not going to be able to plant much with it because all it had in it was a cucumber plate, and all the other plates for it are in the floorboard of my truck right here. So hope they enjoy planting cucumbers with the polyplanter junior. It's not really that good at planting cucumbers. It does it, but not very consistently like it does beans. So my boys over here are plugging in snap beans, and me and Eden are finishing up this trellis here. This looks a whole lot better, and when you go through and pull up a crop and fill the row middle up with it, it actually does a really good job of holding the weeds back, and by the time this crop here starts coming in, this will be decomposed down into mulch, and works pretty good. I got to mix up a solo sprayer full of some Roundup and some AIM and come through here. This driveway is way out of hand, and I need to kill the cucumbers and do some cleaning up around the ends of the field. If you're spraying Roundup, just got to really be careful with it. I would love to, I like to spray just like AIM or Gramoxone, but I don't like backpacking Gramoxone, and AIM doesn't kill grasses. So for safety, I'm just gonna spray Roundup with AIM too, because there's a lot of junk in here that Roundup's not gonna kill. For instance, good old horse nettle. I don't know how I ended up with so much horse nettle on this farm. I guess because it used to be cow pasture. And blue weed, my least favorite. This junk right here. If you're gonna try to kill some blue weed, whatever you're using, Roundup ain't gonna do it for you. But hot tip on that, you better put about as much surfactant in your sprayer as you do chemical, because that blue weed is so waxy. It's actually lamb's quarters blue weed. This junk is so waxy that it's like a duck's back. You spray it Roundup and it just runs right off of it. So surfactant, lots of it. A minute ago, Eden asked me some questions that I was kind of surprised that he didn't know, and I thought, well, there's probably some other people out there that might not know. So we were filling up a sprayer, or I was filling up a sprayer, and Eden was watching. And what did you ask me about the water?
Why do you put water in the sprayer?
why do you put water in the sprayer? Well, the water is a carrier for chemicals. So when we're spraying mainly water. And it never occurred to me that a lot of people might not know that. I just put 4 gallons of water in this solo sprayer right here, and then I put 2 ounces of AIM herbicide, and I put like 16 ounces of surfactant, which is a glorified soap. If you've ever washed your car, you know that when you just spray water on it, it beads up on the paint. That's much like a plant. Plants have a waxy coating on them. But when you spray soap on it, it just coats the paint. So that's the same effect with surfactant. It makes that herbicide coat the leaves of the plants. So we're mainly spraying water, and it's just a carrier for a small amount of herbicide. And what was the other question you asked me about license?
Why do you have to have a license to spray some chemicals?
In order to spray some chemicals that are more dangerous than others, you have to have a license to buy them, because they don't want just anybody that doesn't know how to properly handle them using certain chemicals. So that's why you have to have a license to buy certain chemicals. And the chemicals are distinguished by the signal word, they call it. The signal words go from caution, which is the safest chemical, like Roundup. Roundup is a caution. AIM herbicide is a caution. Then it goes to warning. Then it goes to danger. And then it goes to danger poison. And anything in the danger or danger poison category, you have to have a pesticide license in order to purchase them. Just a kid's perspective on a little bit of herbicide use this morning. So it's good to kind of come through and do a burn down before your stuff gets up. See, this driveway's out of hand. The cucumber field, or the little patch here, it wasn't in too bad a shape weed wise, but there is a little bit of junk that'll get big if we let it. So I'm just coming through here and spraying this Roundup and this AIM to clean up this driveway for one thing, but then I'm gonna come back and just spray over top of everything like that, because see, the seeds are still under the ground, so you're not gonna hurt them. Roundup deactivates when it hits the soil. It doesn't move, it doesn't do anything. It is done. You can safely spray Roundup over top of planted seeds in black plastic. The only exception to that is if the Roundup dries on black plastic. I have heard of, if you spray black plastic with Roundup and you don't get any rain for a while, and then the seeds start coming up, the Roundup can, if it does rain, the Roundup can splash, like it sits there on the black plastic because it doesn't deactivate, because it doesn't hit any soil. Then it can splash on leaves and kill the crop, but I've never had that happen myself. Got everything sprayed out here, and I melted into a puddle. So I think it's about a good time to end this one. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you next time.